Zachary and Kojak Show. Zachary with a shot fake. He gets it up and good. Fuller, he takes care of it. Kojak Show. Zachary to the outside. Kojak Show. Zachary buries the outside jumper. Picking up three-pointers in that second half. It was the Kojak story most of the night offensively, 36 of Anderson's 69 points.
Hey. Welcome to the Kojak and Zach Show.
That's right. Welcome back.
I know that's right, man. Today is an awesome day, man.
I agree with you, Kojak.
Man, are you tired?
I'm extremely tired.
Man.
However, it's all worth it.
Right.
Everything we have done has been worth it.
Man, you are absolutely correct, man. And I want to do it. I want to do it again. Like, I'm ready. Like, let's go.
In fact, I can't wait to go to the games in the evenings now, like we've been going to.
Yes.
Like I said, I'm wore out. I'm tired, but I crave going to those games. It's exciting. Hey, listen, we've had a heck of a week, haven't we?
Absolutely.
Yeah, last 2 weeks, actually.
I mean, top of the line is just filled with excitement, hard play, great teamwork, man, awesome coaching.
Yes.
Man, listen, this past 2 weeks has been phenomenal.
It's been amazing, actually. And we started out covering some of the girls' teams, but this past week we've had the opening season, or the boys' teams open their season, so we've got to cover some boys' teams now, and we've seen some great talent out there. We've seen some hard play. We've seen coaches have great preparation for their opponents.
Oh, yes, definitely. Man. You know what I think? I think the girls really prepared the way for the boys. I mean, I think the girls really got the boys excited because the girls came out the gate. Hey, let's get it. Let's play. Hey, we here to win.
Yeah.
I mean, great sportsmanship. But listen, we are here to take you out. And I think that just really fueled, the boys, because they would show up to the girls' games.
Yep.
And I know they would be like, man, I can't wait to our game.
Can't wait to play,
man. And so we haven't been disappointed thus far.
No, we haven't. And, we talked to some of the coaches after the games, and even, we've done some coaching interviews and stuff, before the games, before they started. But, these kids, they've been playing against each other for the last 2 weeks in practice, and, they were eager to get out and play against somebody else,
Yes.
So, it's finally here, Kojak. It's here. I'm excited. We've had a lot of fun so far.
Absolutely. And, the attendance at the games, man, it's been great.
I've been impressed.
Yes, it has, man. I feel good for the athletes.
Yeah, me too, because how it is, how fun it is playing in front of a crowd that's going crazy, and the student sections have been great.
Student sections have been off the charts.
They have been.
Yeah, man,
standing the whole game.
The whole game.
I love it.
Sound like down there, them, like I say, them dookie sticks. Boy, they just going crazy. Man, I'm telling you, it just really puts you in the mind of a college atmosphere.
Yeah, it does. And the great thing is about these high schools, they're close to the floor. These students and these, the crowd's close to the floor. Some of these games you go to in college, they've got you separated a little bit from the floor and from some of the players, but man, you feel like part of it when you go to some of these games.
I know we do. We may sit up a little bit.
Yeah.
We may be sitting up a little bit, but listen, I mean, it is so exciting. And to where we feel like, man, we're a part of this game.
Yeah, I think so too. And then I want to give a quick shout out to a lot of the athletic directors and schools and coaches and coaching staffs Man, they have opened their arms to us. Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's been great. They've opened their arms, welcomed us with open arms, basically.
Man, laid out the red carpet.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm shocked.
Me too. And
because I didn't expect it. I didn't expect that type of hospitality.
Right.
Hey, you guys can come in and do the game, but just, I mean, they've really had a servant's heart to where it's like, man, we just want to serve you guys, whatever you need. Hey, we're going to take care of it. Let us know. So, man, I'm telling you, listen, we thank you. We thank you. We thank you. We do for your hospitality.
Yeah, it's been great, hasn't it? And we've seen some pretty good basketball. Hard play. We're going to get into it. Let's talk about some of these teams. Let's talk about some of these players. Let's talk about some of these coaches.
Man, I can't wait. I know I've been saying it, but I'm going to have to slow down because but see, you did this though. You really set the pace. You set the tempo of what we were going to do when it came to the whole show.
Yeah.
So now I'm ready to just run. I'm ready to be like, hey man, the coaches interviews,
they're awesome.
I'm telling you, if the community does not know, if you don't know these coaches, I'm telling you, after these interviews, man, you're going to see them in a different light.
I agree with that. I mean,
honestly.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do too.
Yeah. It's been awesome.
I love it, man.
Yeah, me too. Every coach we've been to go interview, and like I said, we're going to start rolling these interviews out here in the next week or two.
That's
You're
why
going to get to know them. Yeah, I think it's wonderful.
I was moving fast. I'm jumping ahead of you, Zach. That's what I'm talking about, man. I just need to scale it. But you set the pace.
Yeah,
you set the pace. So I'm excited for that to happen, man.
Yeah, it is exciting because not only do you get to hear them talk basketball, they talk about their kids that they're coaching. And, we talk about this. We touch on this just about every game. We talk about that. We are covering basketball on this podcast, video cast, but really, these coaches are preparing these kids for after basketball, for life. And
correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
And it's been great, hasn't it?
It has, man. It has. The next level. How do I prepare a kid for the next level, the next phase of their lives, man? And I think now is more of a crucial moment, crucial time where we need to be preparing, this generation for the next stage of their lives, man, because a lot of times we don't know when that next stage may be.
That's true.
So I'm just talking about like the next stage of loss. You teach a kid through losing the game, you teach them how to deal with loss, because you never know when they may experience a real personal loss.
That's true.
And what they will do is they will reflect on what you taught them in the game of basketball, dealing with loss. Yeah, it's not the same, but there's some principles that I can use in the game of basketball. When I lose a game, there's some principles that I can take from that and also use that, when I lose something in life, a personal loss. Yep. So, man, basketball has so many different lessons.
Yes, it
that
does.
It could teach you for and to help prepare you for that next chapter in your life.
You bringing that up reminds me the last game we went to, which was the Liberty Christian
and
Brownsburg game, and we will get into that here in a little bit. But one of the things that you mentioned during that was how basketball has affected both of our lives in one way or another.
Absolutely.
I contribute a lot of my learning to basketball. And you said pretty much, everything I've learned was through basketball. So it's a life lesson. It's not just a sport. It's a life lesson. It's prepared me. You know what I mean? It's prepared me for life. So
absolutely. Definitely. So we've been everywhere.
We have been all
well, that's
over.
what it feels like. It feels like we've been everywhere, man. We started out.
Yep.
And we started out with the first game that we went to, which was the
Anderson girls game versus Lapel. What a game that was. Saw some great talent in that game and great coaches too as well.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I'm excited about what's to come, especially when you see and you know that they have a heart to get better.
Yep.
So for you to see potential and then have the commitment connected to the potential, oh man, it gets you excited.
It does, man.
It does.
Every game's been exciting. Even some of them have been a little lopsided in the second half. There's been a few blowouts. Those kids continue to play hard. The coaches continue to coach those kids, and they use those as a teaching moment. And you have to, Kojak.
Yes,
a loss is tough, and all these players and coaches, they're all competitors. The last thing they want to do is lose a game, much less by a margin that's embarrassing.
Yes.
Some of them, So, we've talked to a few of these coaches, and it's how you bounce back from those. Do you learn from it? Do you go into film session? And we'll talk about this. Not only do you listen to your coach in film session, but do you carry that over onto your practice court, and then ultimately carry that over into a game? So
you're right. And we have a few of those lopsided
Yes.
ones, Frankton and Muncie Central.
Yeah, the girls' game, yes.
Yes.
And, we saw a lot of potential in Muncie Central. And, Coach Scaife over there, she's doing a great job. And, we found out through Coach Bates how young and, inexperienced that the Muncie Central Lady Bearcats are this year. He
Yes.
mentioned something about they've had some girls that's possibly never played before and some that's only played a year or two.
Correct.
So, I mean, yeah, they went over there and they got beat pretty handily by Frankton girls, but we did see a lot of potential out of some of those girls, young ladies.
That's the key.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
To be able to see potential, and then how do I progress that potential? And I think Coach Scapes is the right person for them Lady Bearcats, to help them.
And she was a heck of a basketball player. And, as a former player, as a player, when I'm playing, I want a former player coaching me. I'm not saying that's the only coach that needs to be on the staff, but you need to have someone that's been through it, that's grinded, do you know what I mean? Do you understand?
I know exactly what you mean, Zach. I do, because I was just talking to a group of young men, and I was just telling them that going somewhere can't tell, going there can't tell, been there, how to get there.
Absolutely. That's great. That's great advice, because
Right.
that's facts. That's true.
It is. And so it's very important that if I'm trying to get somewhere, to have somebody that has already been there. Listen, you can shorten the process. You help me with the process, because
Yes.
I may be struggling at some point in this process, but to have you come alongside me and encourage me and tell me, hey, listen, why don't you add this, or why don't you take this away? It helps me to be able to deal with the process of trying to get to where you've already been and I'm on my way to, but you don't have to do it alone. So
Right.
I'm with you, Zach. I want somebody that done already been there, done that, and to where I can measure, what they're talking about.
Yeah.
So
I totally agree with you, Kojak. I mean, I've had coaches that were former players and some that aren't. And it's okay to have those coaches that aren't former players, but it's always nice to have someone to take you to the side and say, hey, I've done this. We've been through this. This is what it took for me
Yes,
or us
sir.
to get there. Whether you listen to it or not, I guess that's up to the player, but you got to take advantage of those coaches that you have out there.
Yes, I definitely agree. Sound wisdom. That is sound wisdom. Yes.
All right, man. So we covered the Lapel girls, Anderson girls game first. That was on the pilot episode. If you haven't checked out the pilot episode, go to the YouTube channel or go to kojakandzach.com and check it out. We had a lot of fun doing that pilot episode, didn't we?
We did.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then the next game we went to was the Pendleton Greenfield.
Yeah, well, that's the one we're going to cover next, is the girls Pendleton Greenfield game.
Yes.
Yeah. And hey, what a game. I mean, that was a good game. We went in there and got to see Pendleton practice before that, talked
Sure
to Coach
did.
Rogers. And again, we've said this, but they've welcomed us with open arms, Coach Rogers and the team. How awesome.
Yeah.
Athletic
history was
directors.
made. We was able to experience history being
That's
made.
right.
Made.
That's
man,
right.
I'm telling you, man, it's been a treat.
It's
man.
been fun, and we're going to get into that. And, we might as well start with them now. I mean, Pendleton Heights Lady Arabians against Greenfield Central. They're right down the road from Pendleton, turning into a rival game, and they came into Pendleton, and Pendleton took care of business. I mean, we're going to talk about
Yes,
it.
they did.
Yeah. Coach
Yes,
Rogers
they did.
had them prepared.
Man, they looked it really good.
Yeah, they did.
looked really good. They played great together. man, it was fun watching them.
I agree.
It was fun. You know, some games you can just watch and be like, man, I can't wait until this is over. You know, just being honest, you know. But when you are having fun watching individuals out there performing, athletes out there performing, man, that says a lot about the game to where you're having fun watching them, you know. So that was, man, we had fun that game, man. And we was able to experience the making of history for Miss Warfel.
Casey Warfel. What a game she had. What a player she is. I mean, she's only a junior this year. Played with her sister last year, who went on to play in college, who also joined the 1,000-point club last year, Whitney Warfel. And then it's nice to have Casey come in her junior year and, do what her sister did. Join that 1,000-point club. We're going to show a little video of that. But she, what a game. You know, what a gamer. She's a heck of a player.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you know, and it sets, Big Sis set the bar. And here it is. Casey is saying, listen, I want to reach that bar.
Yeah.
And I heard they have a younger sister. And with that being said, I'm sure there's a standard that has been set in the Warfel.
There's 4 girls in that family.
Oh, wow.
Casey's the second.
Okay.
So there's 2 following her. There's one that plays with her now as a freshman.
Yes,
and then they have another
that.
one coming up behind her. So,
well, that's
how
why
exciting.
I say, man, listen, the standard is set, man. It's not an easy place to live in the Warfel home. You hear me? Listen, that is a place where competition, they wake up competitive.
Yeah. And, we talked about this during the game a little bit, but, how important it was for me to have an older brother that played, and, you as well with Archie, and they were great players, Kojak. You know what I mean? And we wanted to be just like them. And I'm sure that those younger Warfel girls want to be just like their older sisters.
You're right.
So it played a big role in my life, making me the basketball player that I was. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So that Pendleton girls game, they came out and played against Greenfield Central. They won 55-26. It wasn't quite that big of a spread the entire game. But I will say this, what I liked about that game was the active hands that Pendleton had. I think I went back and counted. I think they had 22 steals or 22 deflections in that game. Active hands, and we talk about that all the time. You got to get those hands moving.
Man, it just puts you in a position for great things to happen. When your hands are active. Hey, listen, you may not get the steal, but if you deflect the ball, your teammate may grab. So it just puts you in a great position, man. When your hands are active. So often, man, we talked about this because we seen it. You can be this close to me, but if your hands are down and you're not shadowing the ball and applying pressure with your hands and moving the ball, it's as if you're not to a player. It's as if you're not even there. Hands down, man down. I don't care how close you get to me. If you're not taking away my vision, and that's when you get a real good point guard. I may not be a scorer, but if you take away my vision, then you affect the game.
Absolutely, because as a player, I'm looking through that person defending me anyway.
Exactly.
But if you get those hands up there in my face and in my vision and moving around and you got those active hands, how hard is it to get that ball out of that trap or even around one individual?
Correct.
You've got a ball fake, get it around. You got to do different things that you're not normally doing. Normally you can see right through them. Get those hands up, kids. Get the hands up. Play some hard defense.
You have to. Just getting up on somebody, putting pressure. Applying pressure does not mean that you get all the way up on them. That's nothing at all.
Right.
You have to get up on them and be active with your hands, man.
I like
Make it difficult.
Yeah.
For them to even make a pass, the correct pass, you just put yourself in a great position, man. So
yeah, I think it's great. And we talked a little bit about Casey Warfel. I do want to mention that right before that Greenfield game, she came off a game against Heritage Christians where she busted 40 points, career high. She's a scorer. She did have 23 against Greenfield Central, leading scorer in that game.
Yes.
But it wasn't all about scoring either. They shared the ball well in that game. And
yes, they did. Yes, they did. And that right there makes me think about when you say the 40, because we was not at that game.
Correct.
But I could see how she can get 40 points because the supporting cast that she has, these other young ladies that's playing with her, listen, they make the game easy.
They do.
For a score.
Yes.
You know, they do, man. So that supporting cast, man, is huge.
And speaking of that supporting cast, how about Miss Ada Hupfer?
Hey.
Let's talk about her a little bit, Kojak.
You know, I have to find Zach, and
Huff.
I told her, A Huff, but I got to give her something else, something more dominating. You know, A Huff, I like it, but it just seemed like it's just... it ain't on her level.
Okay.
So I need to come up with something on her level.
Right.
Maybe when we go to the next game.
Okay.
And I'm sitting there and I see something, the name may come.
Okay. It'll pull it out. It'll pull it out of you.
Probably
Her play
so.
will pull it out of you.
I'm sure.
Well, you know, she's a freshman, 6'3" freshman, averaging a double-double this year. I think she had 14 and 10, 14 points, 10 rebounds the game we went to against Greenfield Central. She's having a heck of a freshman year this year.
And footwork is phenomenal.
Man. You know, we've talked about that. I don't know if I've seen another freshman have that kind of footwork that she has. And she finishes. She's hard to guard in there.
Man, I mean, when you get, and this is to me, this is just my thought process, Zach. You know, like Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people talk about how well he handles the ball. You know, it's like he has it on a string. But I'm going to tell you what makes the dribble. It's the footwork. Mm-hmm. He's able to slide through and do things with the ball because he has great footwork.
Yes, he does.
So if I'm telling you, and that's when you have great footwork, all the other things, they just complement your footwork.
Yeah.
You know, it allows you to be able to do things that, you know, an individual that doesn't have good footwork, they won't be able to do.
Correct.
You know.
Yeah, and, you know, we talked to Miss Hupfer, and she talked about how she's working on that every day in practice. You know, that's the things that you don't get to see, guys. You come out here and watch these games, and they perform well, but you don't see behind the scenes all the time it took them to, you know, master that footwork or master their game. You talk about Kyrie. He didn't come out one day and just start dribbling like that.
You're right.
How much time has he put in dribbling that basketball? His entire life.
Yes.
If you really want to know the truth. So,
yes.
So Miss Hupfer, she's a force to be reckoned with.
Yes, she is.
And then they have some other teammates on that team. How about Miss Skylar Baldwin?
Listen, SB. Listen, I am a SB fan. Yeah. Do you hear me, Zach? Yeah. I'm a fan of hers. Because it's like she is operating like with reckless. Mm-hmm. She's a reckless competitor.
She's so fun to watch, isn't she?
She is. And it's like, I don't care who you are, I'm not backing down.
Yep.
And if you don't come to play, it's going to be known.
Yes.
Because I'm coming to play. I have a job to do, and this is what my coach sent me out to do, and I'm going to do that.
And you know what? She wasn't the leading scorer of that game. In fact, if you looked at her line, you probably wouldn't think she had as much impact as she did on that game. You know, 4 points. She had those 2 in a row. Like, as you were talking about her, actually, you didn't even get the words out of your mouth, and she, you know, made a couple extra plays there. But she impacts the game in ways that you don't have to score. You know, she's all over the floor.
Yes.
You talk about playing hard. She's a great example of someone that plays hard.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which, in turn, everybody else benefits from that type of play.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah, yeah. And so that's exactly what we saw.
Yeah.
Individuals benefiting from the hard play, the hustle, the I'll do it, coach. You know, I'm not going to wait on somebody else to do it. I'll do it.
I love that.
I love it too, man.
And that's one way to get minutes for those of you out there that aren't scorers on the team.
Yes.
Dive after those loose balls.
You're right.
Put a butt on somebody and block out.
Yeah.
Go get that rebound.
Make that extra pass.
Yes.
To where you may not be in the scoring column.
Yes.
But you created an opportunity for your teammate to be. Yes.
You're on to something there, Kojak.
Man, that's SB, man. Listen, I'm Skylar Baldwin.
Yeah.
Listen, I am a fan. So we didn't get a chance to interview her.
I know you wanted to during the game. We need it. Yeah.
Right. And I said that, see, that's how fast you are, Skylar Baldwin, to where, listen, you got out of there. We didn't even see you leave. And so, but funny. Yeah, man.
And then I want to mention, you know, Olivia Jones, sophomore too, as well, starting guard. You know, she came in and I think she had 6 points that game. And what a great shooter she is. I know she was struggling with a little confidence early in the season. Yeah. But, you know, this last game, they played as good as Casey is, she's going to start seeing a lot of these specialty defenses, these box and ones, triangle and twos. And, you know, they won their last game in a barn burner. And, you know, Olivia Jones ended up with 15. And when you have a guard that is getting defenses like Casey Warfel's getting, how important is it for someone else to step up and put that basketball in the hole, man? We've seen a lot of teams, struggle with having someone step up when, their main go-to person isn't having the game that they normally have.
Yes. And the thing about it is when they step up, it's not like, okay, you only do it one time.
Yeah.
When you step up, that is just evidence that, listen, I can play at this level every game.
Yes, I agree with that.
Right. And so you make everybody better when you play at the level to where it affects the game.
Yep.
Especially it affects, the game on you guys' behalf or whatnot.
Yeah.
And so for Miss Jones to step up and get 15 points, listen, I think that it's safe to say, Zach, that we could expect at least 10 every game.
Yeah, and now she knows she can do it at this level. I know she played varsity last year as a freshman, but with Whitney on the team, Whitney Warfel and then Casey both being scorers, it really wasn't her job to come down and score 15 a game.
Correct.
But this year, Casey's going to need that help.
That's what they need.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Whatever they need, it's like that's the type of player that you love. And as a matter of fact, they have a lot more room for mistakes.
Yeah.
A player that's willing to do whatever it is that you need, it's like, listen, you have the green light to do it. That's what you want. You want the green light. I don't want the green light just to shoot.
Right.
Because a lot of kids are waiting for that green light, and especially when they have an audience telling them, you need to shoot. You need to shoot. And
including us.
Including us. Yeah, you're right. Including us because we didn't already said it. But it's like when you do the other things.
Yeah.
When you do the intangible. Yeah. When you do the intangible things, what ends up happening is your coach ends up giving you more room.
He trusts you. He sees you out there doing the other things. He starts trusting you, or she,
absolutely.
Whoever your coach is.
Yeah. So work hard, do the intangible things.
And then one more I want to mention is Emma Roberts, the point guard for Pendleton.
Yes.
She hit a big three there at the end, and she missed a couple early, but hey, when you're open, step up there with confidence and knock that down. And she's doing a great job running that team as well.
Yeah, listen, and that's one thing that we talked about too, Zach. You cannot be wide open and pass up a shot.
Correct.
Because not only will that help your team, but it will definitely help your team when you gain confidence. Just you getting confidence will definitely be an asset to your team. You passing up open shots to where you're sitting there looking at the basket for 10 minutes and then pass the ball. It's like that. What that does is that doesn't allow your team. It doesn't put you in a position for your team to trust you.
Yeah.
To be out on the battlefield.
I agree.
And
we're early in the season. Like these are all things that I think can be corrected.
Absolutely.
And gain confidence in. So
yeah,
Pendleton's tough. I mean, Coach Rogers has a nice squad over there, doesn't he?
Man, Coach, listen, and he's not lacking anywhere. I mean, listen, when he sub. Nothing drops off. The intensity, the defensive pressure, the ball movement, none of that drops off, man.
And with you saying that, they're now 7-1, and that speaks volumes. They're listening to Coach Rogers and his staff over there. They're playing hard. They're sharing the ball. It's good stuff. Good stuff going on around the county.
7-1. I mean, we're not just talking this. It's the proof is in the pudding.
Yes, it is. And then let's talk quick about Coach Rogers. I mean, what a great interview we had with him. For those of you that didn't watch the game, the broadcast game that we did, go back and check that out. And at least go back and check out the interviews at the end because these, we're interviewing some of these kids and some of these coaches. These are fantastic interviews. Get to know these
Fabulous.
kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
Coach Rogers is awesome, man. That's why I ran before you, Zach. I got ahead of the schedule.
That's okay.
Because of what we experienced, it's like, listen, I need for the community, you need to know who's leading these young ladies and these young men. You need to know what type of individuals they are from a basketball point of view. But one thing you're going to find out is it's not just about basketball. You're going to find that these coaches are implementing life lessons.
Yes, they are.
Life lessons that they're teaching, man, and it's awesome.
It is. It really is. It's going into these gyms and doing what we're doing now, at first I thought it was all about the basketball, because I missed it. I missed being in a gym. Right. I missed that atmosphere. And the more we do this, the more I found out. The more I'm realizing it's not all about the basketball. It is about life. And not only that, we get to know these kids we watch them on the court, and we think we get to know. You think that individual. These interviews have really, we've really gotten to know some of these kids and these coaches, and it's affected me. Yes,
and me as well, Zach. Because I'll say this, and it lets me know. It puts us in a position to where when kids start to see us at games and interviewing them, I just choose to believe that it's just going to be strategically planned by God to where these student athletes will come to find out that there's other people that when they're struggling with life that they may be able to contact and talk to about life. So we're building relationships with these athletes to where when they see us, the more they see us and they hear us talking about basketball and about life and understanding where we've been, and how we've used this game of basketball and how the game of basketball has used us in some form. Yeah. And how do we deal with that, man? I just believe, man, we're going to be able to, we're just going to become another outlet or resource for kids to reach out to and find, how do I do it?
And how do I? With you saying that, Kojak, that goes along with Money Ministries and ZBA, Zachary Basketball Academy as well. We both work with kids in the community, and correct. We talk about seeing results, or at least the change. You at least see the change in these kids, and what an honor to be able to work with some of these student athletes.
Grateful, man.
Yep. So, hey, we got to move on, unfortunately. We could probably talk about Pendleton all night, but we're going to move on to the Anderson-Pendleton boys game. Season opener for both teams. We got Coach Buck coming out of retirement, going into the TP.
Man.
That was an intense game, wasn't it?
Listen, if you missed that game, you go back and watch it. You can go to the Kojak and Zach Show on YouTube, or you can go to the kojakandzach.com.
Yeah, there's a link there. It's on there. Go check it out. It's good basketball, isn't it?
Man, I tell you what, it was so good to where not only to the players, but the community.
And you know what? What a great crowd showed up at the TP that night. It was almost packed, or it was packed in there. Probably wasn't sold out, but man, was it loud.
It looked like it.
It did.
It sounded like it.
It was exciting. And, Anderson came out and they won that game 47-38. Yep. And boy, they looked good. Anderson looked good. And their intensity was out of the gate was.
That defense. Oh. Yeah. Man, listen, that it's almost like a gnat, when you get a gnat flying around, especially if you're eating and you got some food and you got gnats flying around and it's like, man, with this thing,
it's irritating, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, that defense is irritating for whoever has to go against
because I want to eat. And this gnat is and I needed to go. It almost like, man, I ain't going to eat right now.
Yeah.
That's how that defense was.
They looked good. Anderson looked good in that first opener.
Man, that defense. But I'm going to tell you something with the defense. That young man, Mr. Lewis, though.
Oh, man, is he active and quick?
Oh, man, he performed, though.
Colin Lewis.
Listen, Mr. Lewis performed not only on the defensive end because he's an assassin on the defensive end.
He is.
Yeah, he is. He's strong, fast. He moves his feet great.
Yes, he does.
Just keep him from, reaching a little bit.
Yeah, they do reach a little bit, but hey, they got a lot of deflections that game.
Yes, they did.
A lot of steals from those deflections, and they converted those into layups or dunks on the other end. Which
they sure did.
That's what you want.
They sure did, Zach. And that young man, listen, he really contributed. He has come a long way, Zach, from as a freshman, his freshman year to now.
Okay.
He has come a long way. His jump shot has improved.
And he showed that. He ended up with 16 points, I believe, in that game.
Sure did.
High scorer, leading scorer for Anderson.
Yes. Yeah. And taking care of the basketball. This young man not only goes because he was like one-handed last year.
Okay.
He only used his right.
Okay.
You know.
So he was in a gym working all summer. I love that.
Well, he was doing something because you don't just all of a sudden just
No,
come
don't.
up. Now you shooting the ball well, you know, and you're also dribbling the ball well with both hands, with your weak hand now. Used to be weak hand.
And penetrating
He's
with both hands.
penetrating with the left.
Yes.
You know, and pulling up, stopping and popping. Normally what he would do is he would go in and try to create a shot, a layup amongst trees. Now he's like, the thing that you like. I love it too.
Stop and pop, baby. You know, it was just easier for me. You know, I mean, it's hard for me to go in there and finish at the rim with some of those big guys in there.
Correct.
You know, and I think it's a lost art, Kojak. I love seeing some of these kids come back and stop and pop and make the right. To me, that's the right decision. It's a high percentage shot. Instead of going there, and I do realize when you go in there, you're trying to draw the foul some of the times, but I want that bucket.
I need the bucket.
I need the bucket.
The foul will come.
Yeah.
My focus is not causing the foul or getting the foul. My job is to put the ball in the bucket.
Yep.
So that's what we're going to do. And I'm with you, Zach. You know, when I started off my freshman year, you know, I want to go to the bucket.
Yep.
But I was mid-range, though.
Yeah.
So I wasn't outside the three-point line.
Yeah.
You know, I was
You had it all,
the three-point
Kojak.
line. But I had to work on that. So after my freshman year, you know, I started shooting.
Yeah.
I went and I worked on that so I could step out behind the three-point line. But my bread and butter was that mid-range.
Yeah.
Was the stop and pop.
Ooh.
I mean, that was the bread and butter.
And you could shoot over anybody.
I'm going to take what you give me.
Well, listen, we had on my team when we played against Anderson back in the day, we were big. We had 2 6'10s,
Huge.
You know, a couple 6'7s, 6'6s, and then me, of course, little old me. But you know, Kojak just every time he got around me or whoever was guarding him, he would just elevate. And you know, you had a high shot anyway. You have a high release on your shot, and you shot over those big guys with no trouble at all. I had a lot of trouble shooting over them. That's why I would do the mid range or just back it up a little bit deeper. But
Yeah, well, the trouble that you had, man, it sure didn't seem like it, because any trouble you talking about, man, you got it off and you was very effective with what you did, man. So, man, I have to contribute that to the individuals that groom me, my family, you know, individuals that groom me from the Geter Center, man. And there's going to come a time when we're going to do a show on them because I can name them. But, you know, there's some that, you know, I can't name them all right now.
Oh, there's so many of them that paved that way before us, Kojak.
But I want to be able to talk about the ones because, man, they special. They special to me because I say this, Zach, individuals be like, man, your jersey is up on the wall. Number 33 is retired. See, listen, you saw me do that, but you don't know the people that prepared me to do that.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we talked about Kyrie Irving as good as he is, and even Miss Hupfer with her footwork. Like you said, it doesn't happen overnight. You know, that's hours and hours of preparation in a gym.
Yes.
And that's what it takes to be a good player, because somebody else is doing it.
Right.
You know, if you don't do it, you're going to get left behind.
You're right. You're right.
Yep. And then I want to talk about, real quick, let's move on to Damian King. He had 13 in that game opener. You know, what an athlete he is.
Man, listen, man, Mr. King is special.
Yeah, he is.
He is. And what he brings to the team, man, not only his skill, but his attitude.
Yeah.
About winning, because as we get on, he mentioned something. He was like, man, I'm just in kill mode.
I love that. I love that response, because
Zach,
you know, it takes that. It takes that kind of attitude, Kojak, to be successful on the basketball court. And not only that, he's a great person. He's a great individual. Man, you know, those people out there watching him on the court, they don't know him.
Right.
You know, and as a matter of fact, we do have an interview with him that we got later on. Not this game, not the Anderson Pendleton game, and that's a great interview that we had with him.
Yes,
at the Lapel game.
But he comes from a great family, man. Mom and dad, you know, he had brother, sisters, you know, man. Listen, he comes from a great family, man. So
you can
we
tell.
Don't expect anything less.
You can tell. He's a great individual.
Absolutely.
And talented. He's all over the place, too. And what I like about his game, Kojak, is, you know, he's not just a drive guy. He's not just an inside guy. He can play anywhere on that floor.
Yeah.
And can defend anybody on the floor.
He can do it all.
Can do it all.
But it makes it easy for him to do it all when you have a supporting cast.
That's true.
He has a nice supporting cast riding with him.
Yeah, and they're playing with a lot of confidence right now, and should be.
Listen, they're performing.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they're not talking about they're not talking about a show. They're putting on the show.
They are.
And they're doing it convincingly. So I'm loving, man. I'm excited to see where they go. And then when they face that real challenge to where they meet a team that I won't say that equals all of their assets, but I'm talking about the team that may be a little bit faster, maybe a little bit stronger, maybe a little bit more fundamentally sound.
Yeah.
Those teams, I'm looking to see how they respond in those situations.
Yeah, those are all tests, because eventually, Kojak, you're going to find someone like that. They might not have the whole package like Anderson has, but you're going to find those teams that's great on defense that actually block out. Right. And go get rebounds, and the fundamentals. You're going to find those teams eventually. So I'm excited to see how they stack up against some of those teams.
Man, getting blocked out is not fun.
No, blocking out isn't fun. It's hard work.
Right.
But it's necessary.
Definitely
And we're going to talk about that into some games here we're going to get into. And then I got to mention Mr. Proctor. We're going to talk a little bit more about him during the Lapel game. But I'm a fan of Mr. Proctor.
Listen. But maybe we are getting a little bit ahead. But so we'll do that because I'm gonna wait, and I even want to say his name, but I'm gonna let you do that though, Zach. But also Christian Townsend.
He's a shooter, isn't he? That's another one I think that's just needs a little more he just needs a couple shots to go down.
Sure,
you know what I mean? What a great player Christian Townsend is. Yep. And I mentioned this during one of the broadcasts, but he elevates on his jump shot probably better than anybody I've seen around here.
Yeah.
He gets up there, and that's going to be hard to guard, especially when those start falling for him.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah. I love his elevation on his shot, man.
Keep your head up and keep shooting because that's going to start falling for you, Christian.
You're right.
Yeah. What do you think? And then Mr. Warfield, how talented is he?
Can I say his nickname? Oh, well,
say it.
Mr. Athletic, man.
And he is
Mr. Athletic, man. I'm telling you, man, that kid I love his athleticism, man. He's long.
He is.
And how difficult it is to get around somebody that's long, that knows how to use their length too.
That's true.
But also how difficult is it to guard somebody that knows how to use their length. Man, I tell you, when this kid finally finds it out, man, watch out.
The only thing that I would say that's negative right now in his game is he gets in foul trouble. And you need a guy like that on the court. He plays hard defense.
Yes.
And right now they reach a little bit. They're calling some of those fouls. If you could continue to play that, up-tempo defense and put that kind of pressure on the ball without fouling, then Anderson's really going to be dangerous. They are anyway, but man.
No, you're right. Yeah. You're absolutely right, Zach. I would have the same thought, man. The last two games, the only two he's fouled out.
Yeah, and been in foul trouble early,
early, like out the gate. So it has limited his performance on the offensive end. That I think Anderson would just be even better if he's able to be out there and to perform. So he has to know, how do I play defense without using my hands like that? He's long enough to where he can be arm distance.
Yeah, and it still affect.
And still affect a shot or a drive. He just has to learn how to use, his length and his athleticism, man. Yeah. Not learn how to use it to sit down. You already know how to do that, Mr. Warfield, because you did it the last two games. Yeah. We need for you to learn how to do it so you can stay on the court.
Got to stay on the court.
And really affect the game.
Yeah, and we've seen spurts of him offensively that have been wow. I mean, he gives you the wow factor, doesn't he?
And listen, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
I mean, he can score in pairs, bunches.
Quick.
He scored 3 quick baskets back to back.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Which helped him. We'll talk about that, but yeah.
Absolutely.
And then, Coach Buck returning for Pendleton, what a tough first game you have to come back to, going to Anderson to play against a talented team like that,
Man.
That's tough, but he had his team prepared. You know, they had their chances
Yep,
at certain
sure
moments
enough.
in that game. And then, you know, Josiah Gustin for Pendleton. What a great athlete he is. Big, long, can shoot the three, can work out inside.
Oh my God.
I think he had 18 in that game against Anderson.
That 18, Zach, you look at a kid like him, Mr. Gustin. Mr. Gustin has everything that an individual needs for him to make it to the NBA.
Yeah, and definitely the next level, you know, college.
Listen,
And then,
speed,
he's got the NBA body, doesn't
the
he?
body, the jumping, the athleticism. Listen to me. This kid has everything. I mean, that a coach, man, he can guard from 1 to 5.
Yes, he can.
You know, right now in high school.
Yeah.
Man, I tell you, man, wherever he goes, man.
And I believe he's 6'7", you know, so, I mean, could you imagine
were you
that?
getting him, man? Listen, I'm getting excited about his height. You know,
Me too.
man. But I'm telling you, when he finds it out, Zach, I'm telling you, we're gonna hear a lot about Mr. Gustin.
Yeah, he's a force to be reckoned with, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like, and you know, I did find out that you know, Pendleton is 0-2 now. They did lose to Anderson out of the gate, and then I found out through the grapevine that he did not play in the second game due to illness. So, you know, I mean, that I'm sure against Wapahani, I believe that was, and you know, Wapahani ended up beating Pendleton, but you know, without him on the floor, that just makes it more difficult.
It does.
Yeah.
But Pendleton does have some
they do.
some players, man, that can definitely
Mazingo.
step. Oh, Mazingo, listen to me.
He's a shooter too.
Man,
isn't he?
listen, he's everything.
Yeah, and he had 13 points in that game against Anderson, so he had a nice game.
He plays great defense, and he's offensive too, to where he's a threat on the offensive end,
Yes, he
but he's a
is.
threat defensively too. Man, listen, man, the kid got some skills, man.
Yeah,
He does.
I think
man.
so too. And you know, they're only going to get better as time goes on, get a little more experience under their belt, and playing together. You know, this year.
Yeah, absolutely,
be
and
fine.
putting in work.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
you,
true,
You
too.
just don't get better just because you know.
That's true. And you know what? Coach Buck this is his first time coaching since he came back retired. They got a new coach this year, so you know they got to buy into his system and
Yes,
listen to the coaches, guys. I'm telling you, Coach Buck's been there.
man, listen to him.
Yeah.
You know.
And then I do want to mention Cooper Sims. He's the sophomore guard for Pendleton. You know, he come in and had to deal with Mr. Lewis, which is not easy to do. You know, and
At all.
And I heard he played really well against Wapahani, so I see a lot of potential in him. You know,
Okay,
the more
awesome.
experience that he gets. So
You know what? Hey, man, they have a defensive specialist on Pendleton, Mr. Cookston.
yes,
Listen,
yes.
man. Hey, man, that kid, excuse me. I love the competitiveness that he plays with.
Yeah.
Man, listen, he came at Mr. King and was like, man, look, you better come on with it. You better get in your bag. I'm going to make you get all the way in the bottom of your bag. You won't be able to come with the surface type of play. You're going to have to really come. He makes you really display what you've been working on for some time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't want to say held him to 13, but, you know, Mr. King only had 13 in that game, which 13's great. Don't get me wrong.
He worked
you know,
for
but
every
yes,
shot.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Every shot he worked for. And you have to contribute that to Mr. Cookston, man.
Yeah.
Those type of players, man. I love to play with those defensive specialists. You know, I ain't kidding, man, because I had some on my team.
Yeah, you
know,
did.
especially one. You know, Terry Johnson. Oh, Bone. Oh my goodness.
Man.
Defensive special, and you know him personally because he was guarding you
The
most
whole
of the time.
time, man. The whole time. And, you know, luckily I got him into foul trouble a couple of times, you
Yep.
know, which helped me out and our team out
Yep,
quite a bit
sure
because
enough.
Terry was a force to be reckoned with. I
You're
mean,
right, Zach.
Hard-nosed, just like Mr. Lewis. Hard-nosed defense,
Yes.
doesn't give you anything.
Right.
And now he's up at Purdue helping the coaching staff up there with Coach Painter and my boy Brandon Brantley,
Yes.
you know, who I played with AAU with through all those years. And, boy, they got a great staff up there. And, boy, they're playing.
And they're ranked, what, number 2?
And they just won the Maui.
And they just won the Maui?
So Mr. Terry Johnson's doing some good things, isn't he?
All right, Bone. Hey, listen, man. Me and Zach gonna need some tickets, man. We need to come check y'all out, man. But
That's
listen,
good.
we need to come on. Let us in to the Boilermaker
You know what,
family.
Kojak, we do need to eventually do a college show. where we get around and kind of highlight some of these college players around the, Indiana area.
Yeah, especially ones that are that were from Madison County that went on.
Yeah, they have a past here.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Because I think they deserve it. And we know that when you get into college, sometimes it's like out of sight,
out of mind.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's like, man, does anybody remember? And just to show up and be like, hey, listen, we just doing this, Lord. We want to feature you, your progress, what you've been dealing with, how you've been doing in college. And even beyond that, we have some individuals from Madison County that have been blessed to play professional ball overseas. And sure.
So, that's part of what we talk about, bridging the gap. We got to start bringing some of those, and we will. We'll start covering these guys and talking to them and picking their brains about their past. And, we talk about how this younger generation, don't really know. Well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to kind of bridge this gap and bring some of these people back. And, there was a past. There were teams and players that paved the path for us, and I'm very thankful for that.
Thankful for them.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, hey, we got to move on. I'm getting a wink from the producer. So the next game that we went to, Kojak, the Eagles' Nest.
Man.
Coach Brobston, A.D. Brobston, you talk about hospitality. Man, have they been good to us. Thank you, Coach Brobston and staff and the whole Frankton Eagle family. I mean, it's been outstanding.
You notice that, all I can say is, man.
I do want to mention one thing about the Anderson-Pendleton game. Again, we did broadcast that, so go back and check out the interviews with Coach Bowling. I mean, we had a great interview with Coach Bowling as well.
Coach Bowling is fat. Listen to me, man.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You have to go back and not only look at the interview, but when they get a chance to really hear the coach's heart.
Oh, I love it.
Man, listen, I mean, individuals, they love him now because they may coach, because he's coaching their kids and they're winning a little bit. A couple kids went to college.
Yeah.
But when they hear his heart, man, they going to understand. And I think they're going to be more open to him coaching their kids.
Yeah, because it's, he's all about education. Man. He's not just basketball. We keep saying that. And I don't mean to keep bringing that up.
He's beyond this. He's like, man, it's not even about
thank you,
the high school. It's about, man, where can I get them to after this? Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to bring up Coach Bowling for that interview. What a great interview we had with him.
Yeah.
So.
And his family, listen, his mom, dad, auntie,
they travel.
To me.
They support him,
listen,
don't they?
They travel. You hear me? They travel. But I mean, I get it.
Yeah, I do too.
I get it, man. And they are so loving, man. I seen him. They was like, oh, Kojak. Yeah. I mean, they just so sweet. And I appreciate the Bowling family.
Yeah,
sure enough.
Back to Frankton. You want to get back to Frankton game?
The Eagles' Nest.
Yeah, Frankton boys versus Eastern. They got some talent. Frankton has some talent over there. We went over there and watched them. We got to bring up Mr. Nate Moore, who now has a new name he earned.
Nate Dog Moore. Listen to me. Nate is showing up. And I ain't talking about no little chihuahua either. That's not what I'm talking about, man. Listen, that young man, he can go.
He's a dog, isn't he?
Listen,
he can get out and play.
Listen, if you come there half-stepping and you dealing with Nate Dog Moore, listen to me. Nate Dog, he's going to perform.
Yeah, he will.
And what he may do is, if you're slacking, you're probably going to be exiting the game.
You're going to get exposed. I know
right.
that.
And the coach is going to tell you, hey, you need to come sit down, because mentally he will take you out of the game. Because of his play, because of his aggressiveness, he will take you out of the game to where you would have to go over there and just, get things back together mentally so you can come back out and play. That's the type of player Nate Dog Moore is.
He is. And that was their game. That was their season opener that we went to and broadcasted. Yep. They are now 2-0, and I think Nate's averaging 18 points a game, but he had 24 points in that outing that we went to. And, man, he looked good.
Yeah, he did. And he got a little bounce to him, too.
Yeah, he does, because he got that steal on the left side, and what happened?
Man, bang. But listen, when he did his thing, though, he got the swag. But he come back, dropping his arms like, hey, I said, man, come on, Nate, dog.
And, that pumps up your team. That pumps up the individual. That pumps up your team. Got the crowd into it.
Sure did.
Yes, it did. And he did mention it. He wanted to make sure he got that flush because he didn't want Coach Brobson to take him out of the game. So
yeah, that's why he was sitting there. He said, "Man, I was thinking about what I was gonna do, like one hand, two hand backwards." And he said, "No, I'll just probably go ahead and do the regular so I can make sure
it worked."
It sure did. Yeah. He stayed in the game.
It did. And then we got to talk about Joey Wright, their guard, point guard. I think he's averaging 19.5 points a game after 2, but he had 19 points in that outing against Eastern, and what a great shot he has, smart. Man. And one thing else, I don't mean to get off of the subject of Joey Wright, but man, did Frankton move that ball well. There was several times, and they were so unselfish. They passed around that perimeter, and even on fast breaks without even putting the ball on the ground, without a dribble, and finished.
Right. And the ball was like out of rebound, shoot, layup.
Yes. That's hard to guard, Kojak.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And the ball moves faster, Zach, when you don't have to dribble it.
Yes, it does.
I promise you it does, man. The way that, the relationship that they have on the court, it's almost like Dancing with the Stars. To where you got the dancers, man, to where they just in sync with one another, man, and they just make something beautiful. Man, listen, them Frankton Eagles, man,
they're fun to watch,
and they are.
Yeah, and Mr. Carmack, he came in and got 9 points, and
sure enough, look, he's the thief.
There's a thief in the building.
There's a thief in the building. You hear? Y'all better lock your stuff up because if Mr. Carmack show up, he's taking everything. Yeah. Man, I love it.
Yeah, you can't put that ball out in front of him as an offensive player because it's going the other way, isn't it?
In the passing lanes, he's right where you need to be in order for him to get the steal.
Yep.
And he don't mind taking.
And actually, Kojak, I know we mentioned a few of these players, but everyone that came in contributed. When their bench came in, they started knocking down shots, being cold. They weren't even warmed up yet, and they knocked down 3-4 jumpers in a row. So Coach Brobson's got to be excited about that team this year.
They came in with confidence.
Yes, they did.
They didn't have to wait there and play a little bit to build it. They came right in with confidence.
They sure did.
I was like, oh, my goodness. What's his name? Baron Dietzer?
Yeah.
BD? Listen, BD came in and knocked down 2 trays out the gate. I was like, man, this kid, no hesitation.
None. And to come in and shoot with that kind of confidence, that's great.
It says a lot about them Eagles, man. But listen, I need for you to go back to Mr. Wright.
Yeah, let's talk about him.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Listen, man.
He had a great game, didn't he?
Great game.
Yeah.
But, man, what I loved about him is that he led the team.
Yeah, he did.
That point guard position, listen to me, man. He did, man. He was the general for real. Whatever needed to be done, whether it was a pass, whether it was whether it was some defense, whether it was getting to the rim.
Yes.
He got to the rim or knocking down the shot. Listen, man. He did everything.
Yeah, he did. And, Coach Brobson talked about, I didn't see many mistakes, when we watched him the other night. And then Coach Brobson was talking about how, really the only mistake that they had in the first half was maybe, letting the offensive guys behind him a little bit.
Zone.
Yeah, with that zone press that they had on. And we talked about that a little bit. You've got to have great court awareness as that back guy. Actually, all the players on the floor have that head on a swivel. You got to know where your where the defenders are or where the offensive players are so you can defend them. So and they came out and made those adjustments, in the second half.
They did.
Yeah.
Hey, but you know what? Man, listen, man. I wouldn't be surprised when it comes to Frankton that they're beating teams that on paper they probably shouldn't beat. Because of how tough they are, man. And there's another, listen, Bubba Nunley.
That's right.
I love
That's right, yeah.
Listen, the name.
Yeah, it's a good name.
Man, listen, man, the name sounds like, man, look, if you need to, man, send him in the woods. Now, we know it's bears out there, right? So if we need to check out the area, man, send Bubba in there because he going to come back out.
Whatever he's going to do, he's going to get the job done, isn't he?
Man, listen, if you see Bubba Nunley and a bear fighting, help the bear. That's all I got to say when it comes to, man, I love his, man, he comes with full of energy,
yes,
man.
He does.
He brings energy, diving on the floor, And it's contagious because all of them are like that.
Yes, they are. And they play well together.
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
And then I want to bring up Coach Bachert from the past. He coached Coach Brobston, I believe.
Correct.
And then we talked about the Eagles over there. They have something really good going on because not only do you have former players coming back to help Coach Brobston coach these younger individuals, but you're having your former coaches come back out of retirement to help you coach. And I had some battles against Coach Bachert back in the day, and fortunately, one of our guys hit a big shot against him. Other than that, we would have been sent home. So to have Coach Bachert on your staff with that knowledge, and what a great asset to have him there.
Man, that says a lot about not only the program, but it says a lot about Coach Brobston.
Absolutely.
For your former coach to say, hey, listen, I want to come in and sit up under you and help you out. Man, that says a lot.
It's a big deal.
It does. But you know what? And I do want to mention this because Coach Bowling is in the same position.
Yes.
Because his high school coach is on his staff.
Oh, that's awesome.
Basil Malby.
Yeah.
He came in and saying, listen, I want to come. I believe in your philosophy. I believe in your passion, your heart, and I want to come in and help serve.
How awesome is that to have those guys come back and help, just help pass on the knowledge to the next generation.
Man.
Yeah.
That is huge.
And in crunch time, Kojak, when things are going up and down and you got somebody with experience in your ear saying, hey, let's try this, let's try that, and it works.
Yes.
That's big time.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And you got somebody that if it don't work, you can blame it on.
That's right. That's right. And then briefly, I want to get into Eastern. They're 0-2 now, but we've got a couple individuals on their team that, they ran into a buzzsaw.
They did.
Yeah. Of course, Cannon Cook, son of Chad Cooks, their point guard, and what a shooter he is. He never really got into rhythm, didn't take enough shots, in my opinion, but never really got into rhythm against Frankton. You got to give Frankton credit for that too, their defense and And
man, it's hard, man.
Yeah,
when
it
you,
is.
I'm serious. To get in some type of rhythm, that speaks a lot to Frankton's defense.
Yeah,
our job is not to let you get in rhythm. Because that increases our chances on, winning the game. And so they did a fabulous job, man. But, still, Cannon Cook, that young man, listen, he comes from a great family. His dad, his grandfather played. I mean, his whole family.
That's a basketball family.
Basketball family.
And of course, Coach Cook, or, Chad Cook coached for several years.
Sure
so
enough.
his father was a coach.
Yep. And then his older brother, his big brother, he played,
Zion.
but now he's the assistant coach.
Yeah, how great is that to see him in the huddle giving his advice and helping these younger kids, And, we talked about this during the game. I could see him being a varsity coach down the road somewhere, with his knowledge and his passion for the game.
Definitely. And whatever program, is fortunate enough to have
lucky.
him, man, they will be truly blessed to get a kid like that. But Cannon Cook, listen, man, you got to shoot the ball.
Yeah, you do.
You have to.
You're not going to make them without shooting them, are you?
Correct.
Yeah.
You have to. And then when you have a team that needs that offense, that needs that boost, needs you to contribute, right? Yeah. Because they have a fabulous sophomore guard,
Mr. Lindsey.
I thought he was a senior.
Colton Lindsey. He played like a senior, didn't he?
He sure did, Zach.
Man, he had one heck of a game. I think he ended up with 24 points as well,
It looked like he had 44.
Yeah, he was nonstop the whole game. And in fact, he didn't have much help in that second half offensively.
No, he didn't. He didn't. He did have a young man that
Snyder.
Corbin Snyder.
6'7", number 41. I believe you mentioned he's going to Butler. Is that the one going to Butler on a baseball scholarship?
Yes.
He has a great shot.
Man, he does,
yeah,
man.
He had a few
he
go
looks
down.
good.
Yeah,
he looks good on that basketball court, man. And he was able to contribute as well.
Yeah, he was.
They just needed more.
Yeah, they started out 0-2, but I see some, bright spots in their future as well.
Sure enough.
Yeah.
Sure enough.
Yeah. So that was a great game to go to, wasn't it, Kojak?
It was.
I mean, how exciting that was. And then again, we got to thank Coach Brobston and AD Brobston, and then the whole Frankton Eagles staff for, just what they've done for us and letting us in there and having getting some of that behind the scenes footage and, some of that stuff we're going to roll out here soon. We did do an interview with Coach Bates and Coach Brobston earlier in the year that we're going to throw out there for you guys to see in the next week or two. So make sure you tune in and see those, because these are great interviews. And you know what? You get to go in and see the locker room a little bit. You get to see, why these guys want to play for the Eagles, And they're winners. They win over there.
Man, I tell you, this Madison County tournament,
it's gonna be off the
listen, it's going to be, you right, man. Yeah. This thing is going to be rocking, man.
Both of them, both the boys and the girls.
Boys and the girls will be rocking.
A lot of talent around here.
I hope we can get in.
Yeah, I hope so too. Who do we need to contact?
I don't know, but listen, anybody that got any pull with the Madison County tournament, can you please let me and Zach in, and of course our staff.
I'm glad you mentioned that. We're going to talk about them real quick. Our staff here at the Kojak and Zach Show.
Man,
Kojak, we couldn't do it without the people behind the scenes. People doing all our graphics, doing our music, doing the editing, doing the cameras.
Running us here and there.
Wow.
Yeah, the schedule. I mean, like, everything.
Yeah.
Food,
I'm so
cooking
appreciative.
food, buying us food. Listen,
Thank you.
Listen.
Thanks to the whole
Thank y'all.
Kojak and Zach Show team. We appreciate you guys.
Absolutely.
And to be honest with you, I think we're on to something really good here. So, and what a great team to have. You know what I mean? And, we talk about this, not just the guards important, not just the center's important. You got to have everybody on the team contributing, and we got the team that can contribute.
Man, listen, Zach, I got excited like that because before you even started talking, excuse me, before you even started talking, I knew you was going to say that. And I almost wanted to beat you to it. Yeah. I was like,
that's the competitive part, isn't it?
Man, but look, that's the oneness, though.
Yeah, that's
true. That oneness where I'm like, man, listen, you said it, and I couldn't have said it no better. Yeah. But I'm right in sync with you on that.
Well,
Zach.
and not just the people behind the scenes. I have to thank you, Kojak Fuller, as well, because without you, there is no Kojak and Zach Show, and we're making it work, man. Honestly, I think we work good together. We feed off each other well. I think our knowledge. I think we're passing on knowledge to some of the people that It's nice to go watch these games and maybe not hear, just see the players play, but to hear our insight. We've been there, we've done it.
Yes.
So it's kind of a unique situation that we've got going, and I love to be a part of it. So thank you, Coach.
It is, man. Well, hey, man, I appreciate that, Zach, and I appreciate you. And I have to thank you as well, because it's not the Kojak Show; it's the Kojak and Zach.
Well, thank you.
So. Man, I really appreciate you, man. I really appreciate our relationship.
Me too.
What it has developed into now.
Mm-hmm.
We've known each other. We had a relationship before this, but after going through life, man, after experiencing, different ups and downs in our lives, man. Yes, man, different paths, and for us to come back here, I just really appreciate this relationship that we have at this moment, man.
Me too.
I thank God for you.
Me too. I was getting ready to say God is good.
Man, all the time.
So thank you. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Yeah,
thank
me
you
too,
as
man.
well, sir.
How awesome.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. We're going to go. The next game that we went to was Lapel versus Anderson over at Lapel. Boys team. And it was the home opener for Coach Cherry and the Lapel Bulldogs. And, it was Anderson's second game, so, they had one under their belt.
Man. What a show. What a show.
Yeah, what a great game. Yeah, Anderson put on a show, didn't they?
Man.
Yeah, Damian King, we're gonna mention his name a lot this year. You guys are going to get to know him. You need to get out and watch him. 34 points.
Yeah.
I mean, he did it all from everywhere on the floor, offense, defense.
Yes.
Can't guard. It's hard to guard a guy like that, isn't it, Kojak?
Because it wasn't like he was just scoring.
He was doing everything.
He did everything.
Yeah.
He distributed the ball. He took care of the basketball. He wasn't a lot of turnovers. He handled the ball. He guarded the ball defensively. He just did everything.
And I've gotten my notes right here that I've got to mention. Number one, we had a great interview with him after that game.
Yes.
So if you haven't seen it, go to that game as well that we broadcasted, the Anderson Lapel game. If you go to the end and watch that interview with Mr. King, what a great individual he has. We talked about him earlier, but he what a great individual he is. And then his attitude to go with that, his killer attitude. He's ready to play. He's ready to win the state title. And, you got to have that kind of attitude to succeed in sports or anything in life.
Listen, and the thing about Mr. King is this. Mr. King wasn't shy when he put the name to who they was coming for.
Yeah, he did.
So he let it be known. Listen, I ain't going to say the name Mount Vernon, but Mr. King said they coming for
Yeah, they're coming for
Not
whoever steps in front of them.
Listen, not this year. They said, he was specific. Not this year.
Yeah.
You won't do that this year. So for a young man, listen, that hit me all down in here because it just, man, the lion, it just raised up that lion in you like, man, that's what I'm talking about. Now, knowing that you just can't talk that talk.
But can back it up.
Come on now.
Yeah.
You got to come on with the walk too.
You know what really stuck out in my mind in that game against Lapel, Kojak, was his shot selection. I mean,
awesome.
Listen, you have scorers all the time that come down and they might get 25 to 35 a game or whatever, but some of their shots they put up shouldn't be shooting those shots.
Absolutely.
And I did not see one bad shot that Mr. King took against Lapel. His shot selection was outstanding.
It was sure exact. You know what? You're dead on, man. It was outstanding, man.
I think so.
And that's why I didn't get it. We didn't get it, I don't think, but I would love to know what his field goal percentage was.
It had to be up there. It was high.
It was super high. I know it was super high. And because of his shot selection, man, it was, I'm telling you, like we talked afterwards in the interview, I told that young man that is the best game that I've seen him play. Complete game. Yeah. He was a complete player. Listen, if I'm a college coach and I'm up there scouting, listen to me. Damian King, I call him the answer. He was the answer.
Was the answer.
Listen, he was showing up the answer. You hear me on against Lapel. But if I'm a college coach and I'm up there and I'm scouting, or the scouting coach, man, Damian the Answer King, his stock just went up.
It did.
Yeah, his stock just went up.
Yeah, if I'm going to be honest with you, if I have a person scouting out there that went to that game and did not move his name up, I'm firing my guy that's doing my scouting. Because that guy's a player.
Listen, man, you right. You just lost a job because what that young man could potentially do for this program, not only on the court, but just off the court, because for you to get to know, fine young man.
And he's got the body to go with it, Kojak.
Yes,
he's
sir.
Got the body for the next level, and then the level after that. A lot of hard work and a lot of stuff you got to do to prepare for that, but he's got what it takes to make it.
You're right.
Yeah. And then, I want to talk about Mr. Lewis real quick again. He didn't quite have the big scoring game that he had in the opener against Pendleton, but his defense, he's locking those guards up, and it's hard to get in your offense to get something going when you have pressure defense like that.
It is.
It's hard to get the ball down the floor, much less get started into your offense.
And that's the type of player that will set the tone.
Yep.
Not only defensively, but offensively as well, because defense creates offense.
Yes, it does.
So if you have somebody that's there that can set the tone for you defensively and offensively, that's a special player.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, Mr. Lewis, he fits that for the Indians. Yeah. So I know you over there itching because you want to talk about this young man.
I'm just impressed with him, I mean, he's young.
Yeah.
What is he, a sophomore now? Mr. Lewis, is he a sophomore this year?
That's who you talking about.
His.
I'm not talking about him.
Who are you talking about?
Are we talking about the Anderson Indians?
Yes.
It's somebody on there that you are just like, you're going to lose your mind.
I know who you're talking about.
I see you smiling ear to ear.
You just triggered something in my memory. I've got to bring it up. Are you ready for this? The junk man.
Come on now.
The junk man. Proctor. I don't even know what to say about him. He was everywhere. He was all over the floor. He's in the right place at the right time, offensively and defensively. Man, I love this kid. I need a jersey. I need a number 20 jersey because this kid is outstanding to have on your team.
That's the type of, and coach, he even reiterated what you just said, man. He is a delight to have, man. Because one thing you don't have to worry about is Mr. Proctor not giving 150%.
And that's exactly what a coach wants being a coach. I want a kid like him on the floor.
Man, this kid was everywhere. Every time we looked up, if the ball was loose, he was diving.
If
the ball was tipped, he was there keeping it alive. Man, listen, man, every time something happened, if it was setting a pick or whatever, man, this kid did everything needed for Anderson to get that victory.
And it's not his job to come out and get 25, 30 a game or anything like that, but he still had 13 in that Lapel game.
And they needed it.
Yes, they did. Yeah, because, we haven't really talked about Lapel yet, but, it was a pretty 70-53 game, but Lapel made a run there. Lapel cut it to 3.
They sure
had
did.
their chances. Coach Cherry, and, Lapel's playing with a couple young guards as well.
Yeah.
Quinn Wilkins, he's a sophomore.
Man.
But what a great shooter he is, and it's only going to prepare him for later games this season.
And Devin Craig. Man, that young man.
He's tough, isn't he?
Man, that young man.
I think he had 13 in that game as well, Devin Craig did.
But he made a move. Listen, man.
It's pretty, wasn't it?
It was a next level move.
Yeah.
I've only seen one other person do that, and that was Travis Best.
Yeah.
This is when Travis Best was playing for Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
And he was left-handed, but he came down and shot a right-hand three-pointer. Man, Devin Craig got to the paint and had defenders on his right side.
Yeah, it was challenged.
And he shot it with the left.
And it was pretty.
String music. Oh, my God. I almost came out the stands.
And he's only a sophomore as well.
Sophomore.
So Coach Cherry's got, some great guard play coming up for the next few years.
Listen, enough to be excited about.
Yeah,
That's
agree.
for sure.
I agree.
Yeah. So I will definitely say, what is Mr. Proctor's first? Is it Spencer? Spencer, the junk man, Proctor.
I like it because he was all over the place, and that's a huge compliment because
it is.
Man,
this is the best game that I've ever seen him play. Myself, personally, to where I was like, oh my God, man, this kid, I understand why he's on the basketball team. And why he is out there on the court.
Hey, all you players out there, if you're not the leading scorer for your team or whatever, get out and watch this individual play because he's all over the floor. He's diving after loose balls. He's the human bruise,
blocking out. I mean, man. You said it, man. He gonna do everything.
Yes.
You're right.
He does whatever he needs to do to make the team better or to get the win for the team.
He knows how to do it.
Love it. I'm a fan.
So listen,
Mr. Proctor, I'm a fan.
Listen, junk man, you got me too. I'm a fan, but Zach is really, really a fan. I'm a fan. He's a fan. So great job.
Yeah,
great
and
job.
then a couple brothers I want to mention for Lapel too. The Judge brothers, Bodie and Brody. They're both great players. Bodie had a great game. I mean, he was knocking down shots, taking care of business.
If it wasn't for him,
yep,
it would have really been a massacre.
Yes, it would have been. He kept him in the game, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah, he did.
He did.
And then, we saw flashes from Brody as well. He had a nice flush there one time.
Yes.
The boy's got some hops, doesn't
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
And I knew he was going to flush it.
Yeah. And you know what I noticed after the game, after they got beat, Kojak? He went inside, listened to the coach, took his uniform off, came back out and got shots up after that game.
Man, that's what the young man, Hunter, I asked another young man how to say his last name, which I don't know. But he's a fine young man. I think he came from Pendleton.
Okay.
But Hunter.
Suhenna.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Suhenna. I
Thank
like
you,
that
producer.
name. Yeah, indeed. Thank you. She is like a Pendleton native, so she knows all of them.
That is true, yeah.
Suhenna, though, I love the names. But but listen, that young man, I think he got an outlet.
Yeah.
Got an outlet by himself and went down for the layup, man. And he ended up coming down on his knee.
Yeah, tweaked his knee a little bit.
Knee and was hurt. The good thing about it is that he was able to get up and walk off with some help or whatnot. But we was just so thankful, man, that he was not injured. He was not hurt because after the game, he also came out and he was getting shots up. he was shooting. And I told him, I said, man, make sure you take care of your knee.
Yeah, that's true.
Get yourself together, man, because longevity is very important.
Yeah, you don't want to come back out and mess something up and miss your next 4, 5, 6 games, or who knows, the rest of the season. So you want to make sure you take care of those injuries and do what you need to do, because you want to be back out there on that floor.
You're right, Zach. And that's why I got to tip my hat off to Coach Cherry, because he made mention of that.
Yes, he did.
He did. He was like, he got the okay from the doctor, from the sports trainer, whatnot, that he was good to go. And Coach Cherry was like, hey, listen, I'm not about to jeopardize this young man's health or whatnot for a half.
Yeah, one half of basketball is not worth the injury.
Right. So, man, that's the type of stuff. That's what I'm talking about when it comes to these coaches, man. How they're invested. I mean, they're all the way invested to where I want a coach that has my child's best interest at hand. And it's not just about winning the basketball game, but it's about helping my child learn how to win in life.
Yeah, and you know what? These are competitive coaches. They still want to win. They still want that victory.
Absolutely.
But for them to, look beyond that, that's special.
You're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
And then we got to thank Coach Cherry. He also gave us a great interview after the game. After taking a loss, that's not easy to do. We talk about that all the time, and he came out there and gave us a great interview.
He did, man. Yeah. He is, man. Listen, man. Coach Cherry is awesome.
Yeah,
man.
he is. And Lapel's they welcomed us with open arms as well. All these schools has, but thank you to Lapel and Coach Cherry and his staff and the AD.
Yes.
I mean, it's been great.
It has, man.
Yeah, it has.
I know we keep talking about it, Zach, but it's that awesome, man.
It is.
And they have affected us in such a way, man, to where it's long lasting.
Yeah.
For us to keep talking about how they just open arms, man. And it's like, what can we do for you?
Yeah.
We're coming there to do something for everybody else, for the players, for the teams, for the coaches, for the school. And in turn, they're saying, no, what can we do for you?
They're touching me, Kojak. I mean, I had no idea that would have an effect that it has on me. You know what I mean?
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah. So thank you, Coach Cherry, for doing the interview after the game like
Thanks,
that.
Coach.
Yeah. And then he mentioned that they had Frankton right after that. So you take a loss from Anderson, and then you got to turn around and prepare for the Frankton Eagles at the Eagles Nest with Coach Brownsburg and Nate Dogg. So I mean, and they ended up taking a loss in that game. It was a barn burner. They lost 62-58, but. I mean, what? How hard would it be to come back from an Anderson loss to go over, to one of your other rivals, Frankton Eagles?
Correct, man. Yeah. That's huge, man. Yeah. That weekend, a lot of teams don't have that type of weekend.
That's a sectional type weekend.
It is. Yeah, it is. But I would love to have it, and I know Coach Cherry, he welcomes it. Yeah, definitely. He would love to pull out the win.
Yeah.
But he is more so looking at postseason.
That's true.
To where it's like, look, if we can get it in now, get some experience now, find the things that we need to tweak or the things we need to change or just rearrange or whatnot now, earlier in the year, man, it just puts them in a better position at the end of the year, man. And so, man, listen, he had 2 great tests.
Yes, he did.
On this weekend,
Tough ones.
I know he did.
But you know what? Nobody likes to lose. Nobody likes, especially competitors. They don't like to lose.
Correct.
But, some of these losses that we've seen, some of these local teams, I honestly think they're going to benefit later on this season and in the postseason because of some of the teams that they're playing now. It's tough to go against an Anderson. How many times are you going to face that kind of pressure during the year? How many times are you going to face that kind of athleticism during the year?
Correct.
You may come across it here and there, but right out of the gate, it's a wake-up call.
It is.
It's a wake-up call. It's time to wake up, go in there and work on what you need to work on and get better. And that's what the whole season's for anyway, to get better.
You're absolutely right, Zach. Man, I mean, you just said it so well, man. And the reason why they're going to get better is because who's leading the teams. These coaches, man. Listen, I mean, they know what it's like. They know what they need to go through.
Yep.
They pay attention to their players to where they know, hey, listen, we need this type of test.
Yeah, they're putting some of these tougher teams on their schedule to make them better.
Absolutely.
We talked to Coach Norman, and we're getting ready to get into the Liberty Christian game, but he'd mentioned, that, what good would that do if we get a team in here that we beat by 30 or 40? Yeah, it might help your confidence a little bit, but in the long run, it's not going to help you down with the postseason or later on in the season at all, So, let's go ahead and get into that Liberty Christian game, the one we just covered. I mean, it was a tough-fought game for Liberty Christian. I mean, they end up losing that game to Brownsburg 78-42 in the Lions' Den, their home opener. It was their second game of the season, but it was their home opener in front of a sold-out crowd. That was pretty awesome.
Standing room
yeah,
only.
that was pretty exciting.
That was super exciting. Yeah. And it says a lot about not the score, but it says a lot about what people believe is there at Liberty Christian.
And, they start 3 freshmen. They're going to be good. They're going to be tough. They are tough. But, again, you talk about that buzzsaw word. They ran into a buzzsaw with Brownsburg. And, hey, listen, some rankings have Brownsburg number 8 in the state. Some of them have them down as close or as low as 5, I believe.
Right.
So, for them to come in there and play, and for those 3 freshmen to come out the gate and play against a team like that, I mean, it was a wake-up call,
Man, listen, it was more than a wake-up call. It was one of those ones where you're in the bed and you sleep and your mama done told you get up 4 times and she's frustrated. And so now she comes in with a bucket of cold ice water and just dumps it.
Shocks you.
Yeah, that's exactly what it, there you go. And that's exactly what Liberty Christian, they experienced. They were shocked.
Yeah.
And the reason why they were shocked, and I love it. And just like Coach, see, man, I love Coach Norm.
I do too.
Because I know what type of not only guy he is, I know what type of basketball player he is. He hates to lose, but he loves to learn.
Yep.
Last night was a learning event for them young guys because they've experienced so much success, Zach.
Yeah, we talked about that during the game.
Yes, we did. As 8th graders, they've experienced so much success as an 8th grader and playing in AAU. They were on a team that was ranked number 1
in the nation.
Not in the state, in the nation.
Yeah.
They were ranked number 1, and your nephew,
Cooper Zachary.
Yeah. He was on the team right along there with them, man. And so to experience that type of success, you already know that, hey, I have a mindset of we're about to go in this game and we're about to run through some people.
Yeah. And, sooner or later, I don't care how athletic you are or how good you are, sooner or later you're going to run up against a team that's just as athletic, that's just as good. And unfortunately for Liberty Christian, they ran into that last night.
Correct. And so what happens is that's when your IQ of the game, how do I play the game when all of the odds are against me? I'm used to being the one that's on top. I'm used to being the one that's most athletic. I'm used to being the one that's the fastest, can jump the highest, and when I run into somebody that does it better than me, how do I play the game now? How do I still be effective as a player on the court when, I'm going against somebody that outmatches me in all those areas?
And Brownsburg did last night. It was their night too also. Yes. I mean, they were knocking down shots, they shared the ball well. Their coach had them prepared, and they played well together.
Man, that movement was unbelievable. You would have to see the movement, the ball movement, the placement. It was impressive. It really was. Yeah. But Zach, I'm gonna tell you, man, I'm still excited though.
Oh, me too. Yeah, like I said, there's the first second game of the year. It's a long season, Kojak. And we talked to Coach Norman about this, Norman Anderson. You have to use this as a learning experience. We talked about, it is a loss on your, your record or whatever. Yes. But if you can take that into film session and, listen to your coaches, again, you're going to hear me say this a lot throughout the season. But if you listen to your coaches and then you have to go out on that practice, on that court and practice and do what your coaches say. Work on what they said you need to work on. And then, again, carry that over to the next game. And if Liberty Christian does that, which I think they will do, with the staff that they have over there. Yeah, they do. They're going to be just fine. Like you said, they're athletic. They're going to be fun to watch. And they came out in that game, played really good at first. Good hard pressure defense, was right in that game for a long time.
Sure enough.
Yeah.
I mean, you just see, you seen the youth versus maturity.
It's exactly what it was.
Yeah, that's what you seen, man. Yeah. But I'm telling you, youth don't stay youth.
No,
they mature.
Yeah. Especially after a game like that. You have to.
And when when that young team starts to mature, and I'm not just talking about the freshmen.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the supporting cast.
Yeah. Mr. Kelly.
Yep. Mr. Listen,
yep.
Mr. Kelly, he is the big brother.
Yeah.
He the big brother. Man, the way he played, that's my cousin too, man. I mean, I got a few cousins on there, the Dixons.
Yeah.
But Mr. Kelly brings the physicality.
Yes, he does. He's strong, big.
Yeah, he's strong. And he can move. He has great footwork too. But when everybody starts to click and find out what do I do well to help our team be victorious, man, listen, they are going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, they are. I agree with that.
Because
they're going to win a lot of games.
They are.
They're going to win a lot of games.
And if they don't this year, they will.
Oh, yeah.
But I think by the end of the year, man, Coach Norm and his staff, listen, they will be like, nah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? That's another. We got to thank Liberty Christian too, because, I mean, I don't even know what to say. They've been so great to us, Kojak. AD Jason Chappell and Coach Norman Anderson and his staff, and the whole Liberty Christian family has just been outstanding.
Man, listen, last night, and we talked about it, and I mentioned it before, but here it is when we walked in the game. When we walked in, Coach Chappell came. I mean, AD Chappell came.
Former coach, got a state title.
Former coach,
won a state title with Liberty Christian.
Made history,
Yes, he did.
Now, he comes over and he was like, hey, listen, let us know if you need anything to eat, anything. It's on us.
That was
you
very
don't
nice
you don't have to worry about anything. Just let us know. But it didn't stop there. We let him know what we wanted, and he brought it to us. He served us himself. He didn't send it by nobody. Hey, little kid, come here.
Right.
Go up there and get. No, he brought it himself.
He did.
But he says something when he was before the game in the announcements, and he was letting everybody know what's expected.
Yeah.
Here at Liberty Christian, here at the Lions Den. And I love the fact when he got to he said, listen, man, we love Jesus Christ, and that's what we're going to demonstrate.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he did.
Exactly what he did.
He didn't have to serve us in his position.
He was outstanding. Thank you, Jason.
Listen,
seriously,
man,
because
we appreciate.
You don't have to do stuff like that, but we do appreciate that. Yeah.
And to let us know, hey, listen, every time you guys come to the game and you want to come, you have a place.
I love that.
Man, that's
man. Yeah, that was great.
Man, I can talk all day about these coaches, man.
Yeah.
And the ADs, man, just how they've really just served us, man. Had a heart of servitude, man. It's just, I love it, man.
I do too. I mean, I feel blessed, Kojak.
Man, it's like, really it's something that, they've been so good to us to where it's like, man, we want to do something for them. What can we do? It's just like we want to do something for them.
And I did say that to Coach or AD Chappell. I did say, hey, man, you don't have to do stuff like this. We're here to, you don't have to treat us this way. He's like, no, you guys are doing big things for the kids at our school and even our school. You're supporting these kids.
Yeah.
And we are. That's kind of what our goal was to get out there and show the community, not just the coach and staff, but introduce them to some of these kids.
Yes. And we're committed. And I'm just so thankful. That's another thing that we can thank the staff here, man, we're all committed, man. We're all committed. And I honestly believe this, Zach. If you really want to make an impact on a young person's life, you have to open your schedule up for inconveniences.
That's true.
If you're not willing to be inconvenienced, if your life, you want to go right by your schedule, and it's like, this is on the schedule, that's how I'm gonna do it. If you don't allow your life to be inconvenienced, then you won't have the impact that you really want to have, and the impact that's needed. And so, man, listen, I'm so thankful. That's another thing that I'm thankful for when it comes to our team, man. We're committed.
We are committed. Every one of us.
Every one of us.
That's why I'm having so much fun, and that's why we're, you mentioned this the other day, we're getting results. There's
Absolutely.
things that we've been tweaking, and, we've had a little sound issue here and there and some stuff like that, but, we're getting all those worked out, and we're heading in the right direction, aren't we, Kojak?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So bear with us through some of those things, but
all gas, no brakes. I don't even think you got no brakes, man. That's probably why we just all gas, because you ain't got brakes, Zach.
Well, I just feel like there's so many kids out there we need to cover. You know what I mean? We talked about this the other day about our schedule. We go in and we pick out games that we're going to do for the week. But I got to tell you, Kojak, sometimes, and we have to spread out the love.
Yes.
To some of these teams and programs, and they deserve it just as well as some of the other programs.
They do.
But I got to tell you, it's really hard to narrow down our schedule because I don't want to miss anything. I feel like there's 5 other great games going on that night.
And you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. And that's why after here in a bit, we're going to talk about how we could do something about that.
Yep.
How we can meet that need.
Yeah.
So we will definitely be bringing that up. Scholarship opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We're going to have some scholarship opportunities for some of the students in the community.
Yep.
We're going to go over that. We don't have everything pinned down yet, but, we can't be at every game, Kojak.
No, we can't.
So we need some help.
We need help.
We need help from some of these kids that maybe are aspiring sports writers or maybe, aspiring sports photographers. Yeah.
Videographers.
Yes. And, we're going to put a package together. If you're interested in that, if you want to do something like that in college and maybe as a career path later on, please email our producer ND,
yep.
Nikki. You can just go to the Kojak and Zach Show.com or kojakandzach.com, but make sure you get a hold of her because, we do have a couple scholarship opportunities to help us out.
Yes, yes.
And we'll get into those details.
Yep, sure enough. Or you could email at the Kojak and Zach @gmail.com.
There you go.
Yeah. So, listen, please reach out because we need you. We need help.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, because we don't want nobody left out.
No, I want to cover as many kids and coaches and players and teams as we can.
Absolutely, man. Man, I can just see this being awesome, man.
It is awesome already.
I mean, even on a whole nother level. You're right. It is, Zach. But I'm talking about I can see kids coming in because, kids, they are born for this season. When it comes to technology, listen to me, man. Young people speak a whole nother language. You're right. Man, listen. Listen. Most young people are bilingual.
Yeah.
I mean, listen to me. I'm serious. Most young people are bilingual because they speak another language using technology that we have no idea what they're saying.
I have to ask my 6-year-old grandson to help me out. So,
listen, I'm telling you, Zach, they use emojis. They just use emojis.
They talk with them, don't they?
And talk with emojis. And we're looking at them like, what? Like, what is this? Without words, and they understand exactly what's being said. So, man, I just think that this would be a great opportunity. Let's take some of those skills that you have that may get some of you in trouble to where you're not supposed to have it out in class, but you have it out in class. You're supposed to be grounded, but you're sneaking in your parents' room to get the phone. Let's go ahead and utilize some of those skills. And put them to work, man.
Because you never know where this will lead. It could lead to a career. It could lead to what you want to study in college.
Yes.
So we need your help, students.
Yes, we do.
If you want to cover some of your high schools, or not even your high school, if you want to cover another high school or boys, girls games, whatever it is, get with Nikki, our producer, and we'll go over the details with you, and we'll make something happen.
That'll work.
Yeah,
sure enough.
I like it.
I love it.
Yeah, and then also, Kojak. There's also advertising packages out there for some of these local companies around here. If you want to get your name out there with us, with the Kojak and Zach Show, we're looking for sponsors.
Yes, we are looking for sponsors. So please reach out and there's no amount that's not enough.
Correct. Yeah.
Anything helps.
Yeah, we have packages that are certain amounts, but we're not just sold on those. We're willing to work with people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we're welcoming any donations. Any donations that you want to give for us to get to the games, do what needs to be done, the equipment, different things that's that we're putting out.
Unfortunately, Kojak, this isn't free. I wish it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right.
Because I love covering these kids, and anything that you can do to help us is just going to help us continue doing what we're doing.
Absolutely.
So
then again, yes, thank you in advance. And you can reach out to our producer, ND, Nikki DeRoff. But reach out to her at the Kojak and Zach Show at gmail.com. and the Kojak and Zach Show.com.
Correct.
Yes.
Or KojakandZach.com.
Oh, yep. Sure enough.
Yep.
And you can also go to the YouTube link.
Absolutely.
And you can reach out to us. If you reach out to us, I'm telling you, she gonna find you. She gonna answer.
She will get back with you.
Absolutely. Yes. So listen, we're thanking you in advance for your sponsorships. Please, if you whatever you give it's enough. Because it's definitely going to play a part in us doing what we need to do.
Absolutely.
So we thank you in advance for your giving, for your generous givers. Those that are generous givers that want to give and definitely get one of the packages.
Absolutely.
And become one of those sponsors, a main sponsor or whatnot. Let us know. We have the packages to where we can get it to you, and you can look it over and see what you can do to help support the Kojak and Zach Show.
Absolutely. I love it, Kojak. Great job.
Great job, Zach. Man, I love it, man.
This is awesome.
It is.
Hey, and don't forget to check our schedule out. We're going to start posting our schedule. Make sure you come to these games. Come up and say hi and get out and support these kids. We're doing it. Come out there and join us.
And you won't be disappointed. So we will see you there. We're already saying it in advance.
That's right.
So, Zach, man, listen, another great show, man.
Awesome. I'm having a lot of fun.
Yes, man. I always enjoy spending time with you, man, especially spending time doing something that we love. So,
oh, man, I'm having a blast, and I can't wait to do it the rest of the year.
Absolutely. So we got this week to look forward to. So we're looking forward to seeing you guys out supporting our local athletes on this week coming up. So thank you again for tuning in to the Kojak and Zach Show.
We appreciate it.
We sure do.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us.